Video games today rely on violence most of the time in order to keep the player engaged. This, needless to say, has caused a bit of controversy, and has led people to ask, why do video games rely on violence so much? To answer this question, we have to go back to the 90s. Part 1. Violence. Games had violence before the 90s, but I believe that this is where it began to concern people. I mean, look at it! There's so much blood all over the floor, and the wall. And look, you can chop that guy clean in half. It's brutal. These were violent, bloody games that were shown in a first-person perspective, implying that you yourself were in the game killing all those demons and monsters. However, they were relatively simple. You point at the bad guys, you shoot, and the blood flies out. You repeat this until they die and then move on to the next one. It's not incredibly difficult to design a game in which you point at something and you shoot until their health bar drains to 0. Let's take a look at the not-so-violent side of video games. To demonstrate this side, I'm going to show Mass Effect. While this is admittedly another game that relies on shooting and explosions to keep the player interested, it also has a conversation system that drives all the social interaction forward. The dialogue bits were honestly the best parts of the game for me. So, let's take a look at how conversations work in this game.
Tell Commander Shepard to meet me in the comm room for a debriefing.
You get that, Commander?
Great. You pissed the captain off and now I'm going to pay for it.
Don't blame me. The captain's always in a bad mood.
Only when he's talking to you, Joker.
Alright, let's go through those dialogue options again. Is he upset? I heard, and you made him mad. These all are essentially the same thing, just phrased differently. They don't affect anything, at all, but they make you feel like you have control over the conversation. But regardless, your options are completely limited to 3 choices that basically are all the same thing. This is not how human conversations go, not even close. And look, you only have a small number of predetermined things to say. Most of them just lead the NPC in question to either say the same thing, or say something slightly different, then move back into the main subject. Conversations with real people are a lot more robust and dynamic. What you say can determine how people treat you for the rest of your life. However, in Mass Effect, and video games as a whole, this only happens at a few predetermined points. And even then, they're clearly marked in either red or blue, as if morality in real life is some black and white choice. However, the conversations at least flow well and give you the impression that you have some control over how your character interacts with people. So, what happens when a video game gives you total freedom? Facade is a game that took 5 years of research and development in order to create. It was released in 2005 and was said to redefine the power of the gamer. Sounds pretty impressive, huh? Well, let's see what those 5 years got.
Friends here. We can let the answering machine get it.
Sure,
Grace,
no,
come on, don't be rude. It's probably just one of your art gallery friends. It seems like they're always calling you. What? Wait, let's just wait for the answering machine.
Hey, you've reached the fabulous home of Grace and Trip. Leave us a message.
Travis, are you
Oh, it's
there?
your parents. I'll
Grace,
share.
come on. I don't want
I
to talk
haven't
to them
heard
right
from
now.
you and Grace
I want to say
in a
hello.
while. I'm just calling to find out if you're
Jesus.
settled
Let's
in
not
your
talk
new
about my
apartment,
parents.
that's all.
Heard enough from them
Give me
tonight.
a call if you're not traveling. I know you're traveling a lot these days.
Oh,
Okay,
Jesus.
that's
Let's
all.
not talk about my
Bye,
parents.
Travis.
Heard enough from them tonight. What? Jim.
Trip, that was just a well-intentioned little poke in the ribs between friends. That's all.
Oh, that's just a little joke advice giver toy thing that I like to consult every now and then. When I need a little guidance.
Trip, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing in front of our friend.
Disagreeing? We're not disagreeing. Wait, you think I'm angry?
The game works fairly well about 90% of the time, but that's the problem. It only works about 9 out of 10 times. If a button on your controller wouldn't work 10% of the time when you played a certain game, then the game would be considered a broken mess. Now, obviously the game is just an experiment, but I believe it highlights my point quite nicely. Striving for realistic feeling social interaction in a video game is an impractical goal. I mean, Facade was just a small project that would last you maybe 10 minutes, and it took 5 years to create. Imagine trying to do what Facade did in a AAA game like Hitman or Stalker. It'd be far too expensive, and this is an industry that can sell 4 million copies of a game and then declare it a failure. In an industry that craps out sequels like there's no tomorrow, such a project would be far too expensive to undertake. Part 4. Sword before the... That's pretentious, I really should. Games are essentially a set of rules governed by a computer. These can be broken down into true-false statements. So if you're aiming at an enemy, and you left-click, then the statement is true, and it subtracts some health from the enemy's overall health pool. However, if you aren't aiming at the enemy, and you shoot, then the statement is false, and nothing happens. See, it's relatively simple. However, human emotions can't be governed by such simple rule sets. They rely on emotions and complex thought, at least, I would hope so, that a cold, calculative computer could never understand. So, because of this, it's much easier and less expensive to make a game where you kill someone than a game where you sit down and talk to them.